They all came out. On the beach, they are in patches. Just this small area, you can catch a gin, approximately 500 grams. Sprinkle salt on it, and they will come out by themselves. Oh, this one went back in. After sprinkling salt, just wait here. They will all come out in a while. They surface on their own. These are also. There are many. Those that couldn't be pulled out in time went back in. Just these small ones. Put them all back. These haven't grown up yet. This size is the biggest. These are all edible. The meat is very plump. About the same size as my department head. The tide has just receded. Let's start. Haven't even had time to wash them yet. What is this? This one keeps spitting out water. The meat is really big. The meat from just now. In my hand, it's bigger than my palm. After saying that, it doesn't feel that big. This meat is really good. The tide is receding here. The water is quite strong here. All the sand is blown away. They're not small either. In places like this, it's easiest to find these hairy clams. That old man in front stepped on this kelp. He doesn't even want it. This is half. The other half broke off. This old man is also getting careless. This seaweed, too small, he doesn't want it. This color means they are fresh. If kelp is sun-dried for too long, it becomes sticky. Then you can't eat it. Look how far this octopus crawled. These tracks are all from it crawling. Tens of meters. All the way to here. Mainly, it crawled the wrong way. It's crawling towards the shore. It's not crawling towards the water, towards the shore. This guy is so stupid. Its head is really big, this. It's all rice grains, this. With such a big head, it can't even crawl. In these long rectangular holes, they're all clinging. It's spitting out water all day. The sand is too soft today. This shovel isn't even working. No use. Just dig it out. Here. If you dig it, the sand will immediately fill it up. Sprinkling salt is useless. Almost there. I see its meat. The meat from just now went down a bit. And I pushed it back up again. This nose isn't sturdy. The nose falls off after a wash. It will fall off with a little force. This is a breath hole. Spitting water out. Such a big yellow lump. When this clam spits water, it's like a geyser. Sometimes it can even burst. What is this? It's a large conch. Conchs live buried in the sand. I really didn't expect that. The seabird is right next to me. I saw this crab. I saw it too. Right above my head. Waiting for me. There are quite a lot of these crabs on the beach now. Many of these seabirds. This little flower crab. Let's bury it. Otherwise, after I leave, a seabird might take it away. I didn't expect it to be hiding inside. After I dug it up, I realized it was this. This is so big. It's still eating a small conch. Look. From this meat. It spat this out. This fragrant conch, it ate it. It should be a cat's eye conch about this size. It's impossible for it to carry this small. This fragrant conch was lying here. Cat's eye conchs are especially good at eating this. Shell and all. The water has splashed all the way over here. Several meters away. Another moon snail. This moon snail's water spray reached that far. Further than the clam spray. This one, even if I sprinkle salt on it, there's no reaction. This hole is especially big. Look at the opening. Too fat. Salt won't even fill it. Just dig this one out, it's too big. Sprinkling salt seems to be useless. The sand is too dry. The salt doesn't even melt. The sand is very hard. Almost there. Oops. Hit it. Just pull its meat out. See? After the meat falls off, it can't escape. Ask me, why is this so big? My hands are big. The clam feels small in my hand. Actually, it's very big. Just look at my shovel, you'll know. It's as big as the shovel. These are all clinging, breathing holes. Heard about isolation? This clam and the clinging. The water they spit out is exactly the same. What is this thing lying here? Two big claws are sticking out. Afraid I won't see it. This swimming crab is plump. This triangle. This is a small cabbage. There's an onion here. Onion. And here's another. What vegetable is this? There's another one here. Can you see it? There's another one over there. If you didn't know better, you'd think this is a vegetable market. This noodle fish uses its tail to kill. It has a point on its tail. It stabs pretty deep. Why doesn't it use its head? Its mouth is hard. This tail is slightly further away. Very strange. This fish is lying in the sand, only showing one eye. Look how lively it is. Its tail is wagging. This cat's eye conch is flipped over. This guy isn't buried in the sand. I didn't squeeze it. It's squirting water out. This head isn't big. It should be lying here. Rolled down on its own. Too round. A small fish is stranded here. This is a grouper? Stranded, but still quite lively. Not very cooperative. Got it. So small. After the tide recedes in these little pits, sometimes there are small fish like this. Not big, but very lively. This one is inedible. Put it back in the water. Go swim. It hid under this rock again. Under rocks like these, there are always small fish. There's another conch here. By the reef. There are quite a lot of these conchs. Look, it's covered in seaweed. That shows it's been here for a while. No use digging it out. Let's try this way. This one can only be dug out. The sand here is so hard. Can't get it out. These clams are hard to catch. I hit a rock. This creature's burrow is quite deep. Ah! Dug it up. Heard a crack. So sorry. It's not my fault. It was completely crushed. The shell is too thin. Not small. Holes like this are mantis shrimp burrows. It probably has 2 tunnels connected. The other one, I don't know where it leads to. Let's check. See that tunnel there? I don't think it's connected yet. I don't know if it's home. Mantis shrimp are. That's how you catch them. Just shake it out. It'll come out from the other end. There seems to be something inside. I touched it. I annoyed it. It's a 2-eyed creature. How did it get in there? It's also a devil's thread. It confused me. It should be lying in the sand. It couldn't have gone in through this hole. It must be a mantis shrimp that dug a hole. And it hit a crab's bump. This cat's eye conch is so perfectly formed. This bump. Various sizes, not small. Look at this meat. This is a large, molar-like conch. This seabird doesn't recognize this kind of bump. If it did, it would have eaten it. This noodlefish is still alive. Jumping around. It won't live much longer. It will die soon. This is very fresh. There are a lot of fish lately. This hole must be its. It likes to burrow. It's exactly it. Let's put it back in the water. Look, the seabirds over here are all waiting for it. This kind of breathing hole, it's definitely a crab. No need to guess. This small swimming crab. It's trying to pinch me. It stings. It has spines. So small. It's a small male crab. This kind of crab, sometimes seabirds just pick them up. Too small. Too small, they don't like to eat them. This small hole should also be a burrow. Yellow clam. Look, the water splashes here are all from it. The kelp here is in patches. All crispy. This should also be a complete one. There are many, all broken by the wind. These are all broken pieces. Nobody wants the broken pieces. This stranded flounder. Not big. If you're not careful, you'll easily step on these flounders. When it's buried in the sand, only one eye shows. Its eyeballs are also big, just sticking out of the sand. This one must have been here for quite a while. Not big. After a long time, this octopus isn't very lively. Lack of oxygen. It spits saliva when it comes out. It doesn't even have the strength to spit ink. Like it's leaking. It's a head full of ink. This one isn't big either. I don't want the small ones either. Put it in the water. Let it go. This one is really big. A cat's eye conch as big as my palm. By the water, you can wash it cleaner. The water spray is really beautiful. The beach is full of these eyes today. Sprinkle salt on them, and they'll come out. Look at these little black eyes. They're all full of things. These all came out. There are a lot of these sea cucumbers now. When it's cool, it's full of clams. When it's hot, it's full of these. Just this small area, you can catch a plateful. Just these. All came from this one spot. The beach is full of too many. This one is taller than me. Look at this kelp, like the leaves of a tree. Not broken at all, complete. Just this big piece of kelp. You can't even finish it in one meal. This kelp is also quite magical. Look, it's this color now. Once you blanch it in hot water, it turns this color. This is a breathing hole. Most are moon snails. I'm familiar with this breathing hole. The moon snail's breathing hole is especially easy to identify. This one is long. This one isn't buried deep. That breathing hole is a long shape. Is its tongue flat? The breathing hole it spits out is also long. Its mouth is open. No wonder it's not buried in the sand. This one probably isn't very fresh. Feels like an empty shell. Let's put this empty shell back in the sea. This development bureau is quite lucky. Didn't encounter that seabird. It's so close to the perfume. It really doesn't have the strength to bury itself in the sand. I'm dealing with this ink. It's all over it. Like it's drunk. This big one is not small, look. About the size of my left palm. Without much strength, it can't bury itself in the sand. From afar, I saw it. This cat's eye conch should also be quite big. Look, the meat is moving. This conch, no time to wash it. Look, after picking it up, it starts to shrink. Wash it in water. It basically shrinks inside. The shell is too thin. Squeezing the water can crush its shell. Even through the water, it's still okay. This pot is really big. Only one? Now there are fewer electric eels. I don't know where they've hidden. There are very few streamers. This one's head is small. I don't want the small ones. If these flower crabs are big, they're pretty good to eat. The sand is too soft. Clams move pretty fast. Sprinkling salt has no effect. Stuck here. Let's dig it out. The sand is too dry. Sprinkling salt doesn't make it move at all. It ran so fast, what does that mean? It seems to have gone back. I have to dig it up and see. To see if it's still here. It's here. See? It keeps running down. Scoop up its meat. Just now it shrunk down. When it moved, I scooped it up directly. I kicked this one out with my foot. I didn't expect it to have meat. This color basically means it's thirsty. Look at this color. Let's compare the two. This one is too small. This one must weigh a gin, approximately 500 grams. This was completely washed out by the water. This bag is so big. Lively. Now this bag is all stuck in the sand. Not buried deep. If you accidentally step on it, don't step on it directly. Is it crushed? This one has no roots. I still stepped on it and broke it. It must have broken inside. This size is also okay. Quite heavy. But look at this bag, it's so big. Only this small piece is edible. A gardener. Not much meat. This one was washed out by the water. It was originally lying in the sand. After the tide went out, half of it was washed away. This head isn't small either. Now this hairy clam. This big. Not too big, not too small. The best to eat. Slightly bigger. The meat becomes tough. I can see this little wild cat. It's a cat's eye conch. Small red cheongsam. This head is so big. Wow, look at this meat. There's another one inside. This guy is holding another one. How did they end up holding each other? Lying here, look how deep. This one has a bigger head, so it has more strength. Cat's eye conchs usually lie shallower. This is one. The tide hasn't completely receded here. This one is especially fresh. This one is bigger. If it's just this big one, you can't finish it in one meal. All growing on this rope. Just these. That's enough for half a plate. There are a lot of them here. These black ones, in strings, are all patches of them. It seems to be near this clinging. Sprinkle some smoke, likely a mistake. It should be salt. Again. It's a moon snail. Tongue on the side. I really didn't expect that. I thought it was a clam. I guessed wrong. This one is also exactly the same as that clinging one. This should also be a clam's protective covering. The sand is quite dry today. Did you see its greyhound? Likely a mistake, needs clarification. Sprinkling salt doesn't melt it. This clam is right by this hole. It just won't melt. There's no way. Let's dig behind it. Otherwise, it'll run away before we realize it. If the sand is this dry, it doesn't melt at all. Is it buried this deep? It probably hasn't run away. Let me open this area up and see. Hey, it's here. Hey, see? It almost ran down. Its breathing hole is still here. It thought it could trick me. This head isn't too big, but it's okay. Let's leave its breathing hole here. I don't know if you've ever eaten kelp, Don't look at how much kelp there is. No matter how much you eat, you're not full. Is it pointless? The thicker it is, the tastier it is. All blown to pieces. The wind was stronger yesterday. If this kelp is sun-dried, it's especially crispy. As long as it's been sun-dried and blanched, it's basically crispy. This glass has bumps from being held. This kind of glass, I don't really know what it is. I often see this. This one is very fast. If you step on it, it can pierce your water shoes. If you didn't know better, you'd think it was a sandbag. I almost stepped on it. This cat's eye conch is buried so well. So good at hiding. You can't tell it's a cat's eye conch. This head is quite big. There are more and more of these small conchs. It's best to use a strainer to pick these up. Look, there's that old man with a strainer coming over to catch these. With a strainer, you can catch a bucketful. Because there are so many of these, eating these requires patience. If you're impatient, you'll easily get frustrated. A group of seabirds are eating this octopus. The rest are all carried away. This leg didn't fall off in time. This leg seems to be still moving. It seems to be half alive. Hey, this carrot was eaten by it. Eating octopus with this carrot. It pecked the top like this. A group of seabirds are gathered here. Look, the seabird keeps waiting above my head. It's definitely eyeing that octopus leg. On the beach, by these breathing holes, there are sand balls. They're all crabs inside. I see many friends are curious what's inside. What is it? Let me dig one out and see. Beach crab is here. This big. This beach. Those little balls are all made by it. This crab runs really fast. This one is a little confused. Didn't run much. This crab isn't edible, but it's very fun. You can keep it in a bottle. There are many on the beach. Look, these are all. Each hole has one. In these breathing holes, there are living things. These are formed by two breathing holes. This is also a clam. Looking at its tongue, the sand here is very dry. This color doesn't melt. Let's dig it out. Hey, it's a moon snail. Just now, that moon snail's tongue was sticking out. I thought it was a clam. Its breathing hole is exactly the same as that of a clam. Look how white it is. This is also a conch. But its minute isn't small. This meat isn't completely extended. It's half buried. This is also a swimming crab. Its size is also okay. Let's release the smaller swimming crabs. Nobody wants these starfish now. This one has been sun-dried a little longer. This one doesn't move when you take it out. This head isn't small. I don't want these either. Let's put it back.